Hi everybody, I'm Frio Shadow, or Shadow, whatever you want to call me. I'm a new player to the Titanfall community on PlayStation, and I've just joined as of 5 months ago. Even though I'm a fresh face in this game and this series as a whole, it's given me time to think about a lot of things, including Respawn's constant neglect of this series. In this video, I don't want to get too far into it. I just want to touch over some basic topics and get over with it, because this is my first video, so it's probably not going to do all that well, but we'll see where it goes from there. So, let's start. As many of you guys know, players included, Titanfall 1 and 2 haven't been in the best of state because of the DDoSing and the servers being taken down for 3 months now. But during this time, I've gained opinions on Respawn's neglect of this series, the probability of Titanfall 3 ever happening, and what the future of Respawn Entertainment could look like. As of right now, I highly believe Titanfall 3 will just never happen. I hate to say it, because even though I'm new to the game, I love this franchise. But it's just not in the cards, you know? Like, Respawn Entertainment just doesn't give enough attention to the game to make it worth their time to make a Titanfall 3. They're too busy with Apex right now. They've built up this world for 7+ years now, and then just thrown it in the garbage and pretty much neglected the series. And it shows with Titanfall 2's recent servers issues and all that. Back when the games were getting taken down worldwide, apparently they had not even 2 people working on the game at once, which, take that with a grain of salt, because that could just be what they were saying they had. They could have had more, could have had less, whatever. But if that is true, that's still two people out of all of Respawn's dev team working on Titanfall 2. Given they were working on Apex Legends, which brings them revenue so they can fund future projects and stuff like that, it still shows that they don't care about Titanfall 2 anymore, no matter what they say about Titanfall 2 being the lifeblood game, what gave their company birth. While it's understandable that they would play that, or not play that game, but while it's understandable that they would fund that game and work on that game over Titanfall 2, it still needs to be brought to their attention, and ours especially, that they did crap to help. They didn't do a whole lot to help fix the game. It took them 5 months to fix the entire DDoS situation, but within Apex's life cycle of it, it took them 3 days. That says a lot. But no. As of 1 to 2 months ago, I'd assume, when the DDoSing finally stopped for a little bit and it was smooth sailing from there, I would assume, and this is probably a valid assumption, they probably took the 1 to 2 people working on the game at once and moved them back over to Apex. They chose to leave their lifeblood game, the game that brought them to where they are now, the game that gave their company birth. They chose to leave it in a bug and connection server timeout riddled mess of a game. At this point, I'm getting not DDoS, but I'm getting disconnected every like 5 minutes in the lobby, which in Apex that doesn't happen, and it's because they had more people working on it, which shows that they don't care about this game. Even though Apex can fund future projects, I'm uncertain of where Respawn as a whole can go from here. We don't know what's happening with Titanfall 3, but I'm 90% sure it's just probably not going to happen, as much as it sucks to say. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Respawn as a whole, and why I believe Titanfall 2 is such a great game, and the reason that Titanfall 3 will never happen. As many of you know, Respawn got its name from leaving Infinity Ward, the geniuses behind the Modern Warfare trilogy, who work under Activision. After splitting off, Respawn would go on to make Titanfall 1, which by all accounts was a pretty good game. It was very solid, great gunplay, great movement, all of it. Everything about the game was good. This led them to be bought out and sponsored by EA Games, which admittedly have given all good, mediocre, and bad games, but we're not going to get into that right now. After this, Titanfall 2 was pushed out, which lifted the same world, the same gameplay, the same graphics, but upgraded as Titanfall 1. It easily surpassed Titanfall 1 as a great game and the best in this franchise. The movement felt more fluid than any other game at the time. The graphics were surreal, making you feel immersed in the world of Titanfall, and the gun and gameplay felt immersive. You had like, how do I put this? You felt immersed when you killed somebody. It gave you that feel-good feeling of killing somebody not only in a Titan, but also in a pilot. The gameplay was just that good. Not only that, the movement is fantastic. The graphics look amazing. After a while of doing that, though, and caring for this game and nurturing it, they would eventually go on to make Titanfall 3, which is also known now as Apex Legends. They lifted the same graphics, the same engine, the same gameplay, all that, admittedly taking out a few parts such as slide hopping and wall running and double jumping and all that, and put it into a fresh slate, copying the likes of like PUBG and Fortnite, which were big at the time, which is understandable. All these factors allowed Titanfall 2 to succeed, but when Apex came out, it was the death of Titanfall, in my opinion. Titanfall died after that point. While the game is still fantastic, 5 years later, it still had its problems with launch, especially at launch, with the main glaring one being that it was released in between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1. Two very, very big games, AAA titles, all the likes. However, even with them having a okay launch, they still choose to leave this game in the dust 5 years later. While it sucks to admit, I feel like that's the reason Titanfall 3 will never happen. They don't have the time, the money, the staff to work on Titanfall 3 at the current time. Most of the people who made Titanfall 1 and 2 left a long time ago, so it's not going to feel the same. And overall, I think they're just going to kind of ruin what Titanfall was. For one last topic before this video gets any longer, I'd like to talk about what Respawn can do to further their company's life cycle and how I feel their company will go from here. While they're still being a good company, Respawn isn't perfect. They try their hardest, and that's why we have such amazing games to play such as Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, Jedi Fallen Order, and Apex Legends. But you may be asking yourself, which this is going to sound admittedly cringy for a first video, but why Shadow? Where can they go from here? What are they going to do with Titanfall from this point? Why can't they make a Titanfall 3? And I have an answer. I can answer all of those questions with one sentence. I don't know. There's no telling what can happen in the future, and there's no telling what the future holds for Respawn. For all we know, it could be Apex Legends Season 42, or even Titanfall 5. Who knows? For all we know, after making these next few projects they have in the making, Respawn could be finished. That could mark where their endeavor ends. As long as we're here, Respawn's here. As long as we're supporting them, Respawn will always be there for us, no matter what. Given they don't care 100% about Titanfall anymore, but still, as long as we're here, they care. Respawn, will always be there for us, no matter what. Okay, one last note before I leave. I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. I know this was probably unbearable to sit through. It's probably a very bad video. Like, again, this is my first video of this style. I don't really know what to do with this. So if you could help me out and push this video out to more people by liking and subscribing and stuff like that, or even just sharing it to your friends, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all guys, or thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the frontier soon. Bye guys.